Ladies and gentlemen, good day all. My name is Mukhtar Aliu from the Department of Biochemistry at Zaria. So, in today's video, we are going to look at the concept of medical biochemistry. And if this is the first time you are coming to my YouTube channel, please subscribe and join my YouTube channel for more video contents. What is medical biochemistry? A medical biochemistry is one of the branches of biochemistry, and it is actually a very fascinating field that delves into chemical processes within living organisms and how these processes relate to health and disease. So generally, of course, from the definition of biochemistry is the branch of chemistry that trying to talk about the chemical processes that are taking place in the living organisms. But in the case of medical biochemistry, is trying to give us an idea of how these chemical processes in the living organisms are related to our health and disease. Because, of course, in human beings, there are thousands and millions of reactions that are taking place in each and every minute. So, if those chemical processes are taking place successfully without any problem, it means that the normal state of health will be maintained. But when there is any problem or any alteration in those chemical processes, it means there will be a disease. Medical biochemistry is trying to actually show or try to bridge a gap between health and disease. So it is the bridge between biology and chemistry, providing insight into how our bodies function at a molecular level. Yeah, of course, actually, in the area of biochemistry, we are trying to look at how molecules or how we understand life and the functions of the body using in molecules. Because, of course, we have 3 or 4 to 5 major molecules that are actually have in our body's functions, which include proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. And of course, nucleic acid are part of them. So if we are trying to look at how biomolecules or how these molecules are related to our body functions, then that is actually the area of biochemistry. So medical biochemistry is trying to show us how these biomolecules, proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acid are related to human health and diseases. And of course, the area of biochemistry and clinical biochemistry, of course, are related with so many, they are related with so many area. Like, for example, it is related to physiology. What is physiology? Physiology is the study of the body's function. And of course, biochemistry is a language of physiology because understanding biochemistry will give you an idea of how each and every cells of the body work differently from one another, because the biomolecules is what actually specialize and organize a particular cells to have a specific function. So cellular differentiation, cellular specialization, and cellular functions depend on the types of the biomolecules that are present in a specific types of cell. And those molecules is what determine the functions of a particular cell. And of course, understanding the functions using a biomolecules is actually what biochemistry is. So if you understand biochemistry, you will understand physiology. So biochemistry is like a language of physiology. So that is why biochemistry is fully integrated with the knowledge of physiology. And then pharmacology, which is actually the branch of biology that is associated with drug and drug action. So understanding the concept of biochemistry will give you an idea of what a specific drug targets will be actually identified and targeted for a specific drugs. Like for example, so many of the drugs that are available in the markets, there are enzymes inhibitors, and enzymes are proteins which are the biomolecules from biochemistry. So if you understand biochemistry, you will be able to understand the concept of the proteins, specifically and enzymes, and it is important in a survival as well as the health benefit of that particular enzymes in a particular living organisms. So therefore, if you have that understanding, like for example, there is an enzyme called angiotensin converting enzymes receptor 2. So these enzymes, when it overexpressed, it actually leads to hypertension because these enzymes is involved in the production of vasoconstrictor, which is angiotensin 2. So if you can be able to actually develop a drugs that can inhibit the activity of that enzymes, you can actually lower the disease complication. And then, of course, biochemistry is related to genetics. So when we say genetics is the study of heredity and variation. So heredity and variations are due to the nucleic acid that are found in the nucleus, mitochondria, and then chloroplasts of a cell. So when you said heredity, it means the transfer of characters or trait from parent to their offspring. And that transfer of trait and characters is due to DNA and RNA. So the DNA and RNA, there are biomolecules which are the product or which are the subset of biochemistry. So you must understand biochemistry before you are able to understand those nucleic acid, DNA and RNA. So that is where understanding biochemistry is key to understanding genetics. And the molecular biology also at the same time is a branch of biology that is associated with the study of informational macromolecules. And these informational macromolecules can be DNA, RNA, proteins. So that is molecular biology. So you must understand biochemistry who you were able to understand the concept of molecular biology. So that is why understanding biochemistry is key to understanding these key areas: physiology, pharmacology, genetics, molecular biology. And then at the same times, we also have toxicology. What is the toxicology is the study of toxic substances, which can be proteins, which can be chemical substances. So of course, because some of these toxic substances, there are substances that actually inhibit or block the activity of some biomolecules like enzymes, proteins, or carbohydrate in the body. So as a result of the blockage or blocking the activity of those biomolecules, that can hinder the survival or the health of that particular living organism. So that is why understanding biochemistry will give you an idea of where the toxic substances target in a particular living organisms and how to actually develop an antidote or antitoxic or antivenom, like in the case of snake venom, or antitoxic substances that can actually detoxify the toxic substances. And at the same time, we have the toxification process, which is generally a complex metabolic processes that are involved in removal of toxic substances, which includes phase one, phase two, up to phase three. So that is actually the detoxification process. In fact, the detoxification of toxic substances is almost similar to metabolism of drugs because drugs is also toxic because we don't need it in our body. So that is why pharmacology, toxicology, biochemistry, they are very interesting area and they are fully integrated. And then the next thing actually is immunology. What is immunology? Immunology is the study of immune substances or immune system. Yeah, it's the study of immune system. And what is immune system? Immune system is a system that trying to protect us against any foreign substances. And some of these immunological uh, material or immunoglobulins or the biomolecules that are involved in removal of the foreign substances like microorganisms. There are proteins. Some of them, they are the glycoproteins. So they are very, very important. They are very, very essential in understanding the concept of immunology. So that's why understanding biochemistry at the same time is important because the immunoglobulins, that is antibodies and antigens reactions that are taking place during the immunological reactions, are the product or the biomolecules which you must understand or which you must understand biochemistry before you were able to understand them. And then the next thing is microbiology. Of course, when you said microbiology, it means it's the study of microorganisms. That is, those organisms that cannot actually see them with our naked eyes. And we have virology, which is sub-branches of microbiology that is associated with the study of virus. So those viruses also, you must understand biochemistry and clinical biochemistry before you are able to understand the concept of microbiology and virology. Then endocrinology, which is the study of endocrine system. And endocrine system is hormones. So hormones are also molecules. Of course, we have three classes of hormones. It can be uh, it can be the hormones can be one, it can be proteins, it can be peptides, it can be amino acid derivatives, and of course they are biomolecules. So that is why understanding biochemistry is very, very important. So also in the case of human medicine, if you actually want to understand human medicine, you need to also understand biochemistry. So because biochemistry is important and it's integrated with any area of health sciences, life and health sciences, and then veterinary medicine. So understanding biochemistry is key and is integrated. It's actually interrelated with all these other areas. So biochemistry is very important and it's one of the major tripod of medicine. So if you are able to understand biochemistry, you can be able to explain almost everything. You can go into pharmacology, physiology, genetics, molecular biology, toxicology, immunology, microbiology, endocrinology, human medicine, veterinary medicine. You can go all into this area and say something. And of course, so that is why understanding the area of biochemistry is very, very important. And then the next thing now is the key topics in medical biochemistry that you actually need to understand them and know them very well. So number one, we have metabolism. So what is metabolism? Metabolism is actually the sum total of all biochemical reactions that are taking place in the body. And in simple terms, biometabolism is trying to actually show us how the body convert food into energy and the building blocks for cells. Of course, when we eat food substances, of course, we know that food substances can actually be in the form of proteins, carbohydrates, lipids. So when you take any of these food substances and you convert it into energy or building blocks, for cells, that is actually what you call metabolism. Like, for example, you can actually break down carbohydrate into amino acid, and those amino acids can serve as a building blocks for the synthesis of other important biomolecules in the body. And then the next thing is enzymes, which is also one of the key important topics in medical biochemistry. So proteins that catalyze biochemical reactions is actually crucial for metabolism. So enzymes are biomolecules that catalyze biochemical reactions, and it is critical for metabolism because metabolism is a sum of the reactions that are taking place in the body. So if there is no enzymes, then the reactions will be very slow, or it may be also impossible to take place. So enzymes is very important. And then we have hormones. Hormones are the chemical messengers that regulate physiological processes. So of course we have two major coordinating system, endocrine system, which is hormones, and then nervous system. So endocrine system is hormones that actually secreted by the body into the blood and then travels to where it is going to elicit its function. And then the next thing is genetics. So genetics is how genetics information is expressed and regulated. Some of us are black because of the characters that we inherited from our parents. Some of us, we can easily control our anger. Some you cannot control our anger. This is actually due to genetics because, of course, oxytocin, adrenaline is a hormone that control anger, and we can inherit that hormones, adrenaline, because the more your friend produce, express, and regulate that adrenaline, is also telling you that you have or you may have similar case because we inherit these proteins from our parent. It may be hormones or enzymes because some of the hormones are enzymes. Then the next thing is nutrition. So nutrition is actually one of the major area of biochemistry that actually try to actually show us how the nutrient is important in health and disease. Because sometimes some of the diseases that we develop is due to the problems of nutrients. If we are not taking a proper nutrient, and of course that will lead to a problem. And then the next one is pharmacology. So pharmacology is actually trying to tell us how drugs interact with other biochemical processes or how drugs interact with biochemical processes that are taking place in a living organism. So that is why in the area of medical biochemistry, you must understand metabolism, you must understand hormones, enzymes, pharmacology, genetics, and nutrition. So then the next thing is then application. What are the application of biochemistry or of medical biochemistry? So it actually helps in disease diagnosis, which is actually help in identifying biochemical markers for disease. Like for example, some of the biomolecules that are restricted and localized in a particular organs. Like for example, let's say alanine aminotransferase is a liver enzymes. So, and these enzymes have it is normal range in the blood. So whenever you see that the amount of that enzyme that is alanine transferase increases in the blood, that tells you that there is a problem in the liver because the liver is the organ that holds these enzymes. So meaning that if there is a problem with the liver, maybe the damage, like let's say necrosis or injury, of course, the content of the liver will be released. So if the content of the liver releases into the blood, so that it is an indication that the alanine aminotransferase may be also part of the content that will be released in the liver. So that tells you that when you check blood and you see that the concentration of that ALT, that is alanine aminotransferase, is high, that is to tell you that there is a problem with the liver. And at the same time, we have some biomolecules like urea, which is usually excreted through urine by the kidney. And now you check that in the kidney, sorry, in the blood, there is high amount of the urea. So what does that tell you? It means that the liver or the kidney is not actually doing its function. The kidney is not doing its function. Because if it is doing its function, those urea or those concentration of the urea will be actually transported to the kidney and then excreted. So it means that if you have creatinine in the blood, or the concentration of the creatinine is high in the blood, it tells you that the kidney is not doing its function. It's not excreting the urea. So that also can tell you that the kidney is having problems. So this is actually some of the process that you can use to diagnose a disease. And then therapeutics. So with the application of biochemistry, you can develop new drugs by actually identifying a specific target enzymes in a particular biochemical pathways. So if there's a particular chemical pathways, you can identify a particular protein that is essential for that particular pathway, and then you can develop a drugs that can either enhance or decreases the activity of that particular pathways. And then also at the same times, the knowledge of biochemistry can help in personalized medicine by tailoring treatment based on individual biochemical profiles. So you can actually, in personalized medicine, biochemistry can help you to actually identify a particular individuals, understand the metabolic profiles of that particular individual, and then you develop drugs specific to that particular individual. That is personalized medicine. It's like a one person medicine. So then, of course, therapeutic applications. So in therapeutic applications, you can use radioisotopic method or immunoprecipitation method. So like, for example, you can use iodine 131 in the treatment of hyperthyroidism and differentiated thyroid cancer. So because this is actually iodine 131, you can actually measure the movement of iodine into the body, and then from there you will know either, or you can know the location and the specific area where that particular individual have a particular disease like thyroid cancer. And then, of course, immunoprecipitation is a technique that uses a specific antibodies to a protein to remove these proteins from the solution. So this is actually some of the applications of medical biochemistry. And of course, I'm going to stop here. And if this is the first time you are coming to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. Thank you.